Hi there everyone, just wanted to provide a quick refresh on the setup of the Conmed Buffalo smoke evacuation filter. These will be held in L&D ORs 1 and 2. Their purpose is to help evacuate smoke produced from our cautery pencils. Some things you will need for setup are, of course, the machine itself, the power cord that accesses to a power outlet. You will also need, this is called our Easy Link. This is going to connect to our Buffalo filter and eliminate the foot pedal function so that we're not having to press the foot pedal on and off to trigger suction. You will also find that we have fluid traps that are going to help the longevity of our device itself. You will also see that we have specific cautery pencils. The brand we will carry is the Striker pencil, and I will show you how to set that up. So one thing just to note that this device is actually going to sit on top of our current ligature machine. So it's just going to sit right on top and has its own settings. You will still plug the cautery pencil into that device. You'll also still plug in your Volvi pad to that device as well. We will put smoke evacuation pencils onto the case tables. Our scrub techs know to do this before every case if there's time. If there's a stat or urgent case where we need to add on the pencils, there will be extra held in a bucket just like this in the glass cabinets of the OR. For extra fluid traps, we will keep those where we keep the extra Volvi pads, just right on the ligature machine, where we will see this sitting right on top. One thing I will point out is just on the side of these machines, they do have the label with the device name. This is something we will need to add to our Epic documentation until we get further into the Epic Go Live process. So you'll just have to search smoke evacuation or Buffalo filter and then manually type in this MA3772 or MA3773, depending on which OR you are in. To show you quickly just the means of the device, there's again a power cord that goes into a power outlet. This is actually the filter itself. There's a blue button here that you just press and pull. This is the staged filter that's helping evacuate that smoke and absorb that smoke for us. To click it in, you just push. You'll hear a satisfying click. There are 3 ports here. These are for different surgical cases. What we're going to focus on is just this top port. If you ever see it closed, it just slides open. When you do plug it in initially, this monitor will turn on automatically. If you see that it's gone into a sleep mode or turned off, you just press the power button here. It does have some different settings here. What we're going to focus on is this first setting. This is our vacuum setting. And when you tap on the screen, you'll get to this friendly default face. You will see that this is the fan power on and on, so if you ever needed to manually put it on or off, you could do that. Right now, our vacuum is set to 50%. If you're at 20 to 30% of vacuum power, that would be efficient enough. Some surgical cases for our C-sections do produce a little more smoke, so you can turn this up or down. But at 50%, that should be an appropriate amount, but we can kind of base it based on the providers, how much cautery we're doing, and adjust from there. So with that turned on, you also want to make sure that you're plugging in your Easy Link. Now, your Easy Link is reusable. Please do not discard this. This is something that just has a power plug here. There's only one spot for it to plug into the back, and you just press that in. Now that that's pressed in, you can hear that fan, and once we plug in the pencil, you'll be able to see that it automatically will go on and off. For purposes of the education, I'm just going to shut the fan off for us until I can show you how to set up the rest of the device. What we do have are these fluid traps. This is just to protect the longevity from any fluid getting pulled back into the filter life. So what you're going to see is that there's safety caps on the front and back. Where the extra hose is to the back, you're going to just remove that blue, and you're actually just going to kind of wiggle and push this in. There's no satisfying click. It just sits right in until it feels snug. Now, if we're setting up our OR where we're turning it over and we're setting up clean product ready for the next case, if we see that the blue caps are on, we know that that is ready for a patient. These are one-time use only. Only one patient at a time can use a filter trap. After every case, we're removing this and discarding and putting a new one. If you happen to walk by and see one of these blue filters off, and even if it's on the ground, we have to assume that this is dirty or used. We cannot use this product. We want to use a fresh product. When you are ready to set up, you would remove this blue cap here. You're going to take your striker pencil. I do happen to have one open here. What you're gonna do is take a look at this hose. So you'll see the edge of this tip has this smoke evacuation port. You can push back if you do need more visualization, but you do have a very clear visual of your cautery tip. You have a cut and coag button, which is very nice to have that easy access. And you'll see the tubing goes all the way down until it splits. You have your cord here that's gonna plug right underneath into your settings, into your ligature machine, and then you have your port here that's gonna slide right into your fluid trap. So you would plug this in and you just, again, line this up and push. No satisfying click, you just push until you can't push anymore. Now that you're plugged in, what you should notice is that you have the ability to clip on your Easy Link anywhere on this screen. So once it's on there, you have the ability to now function with the fan functioning whether you hit cut or whether you hit coag. Now we're not connected to the ligature machine here, so it's not gonna function as it would in real surgery, but just so you are aware, that is where this Easy Link comes into play. You just slide it anywhere onto that green wire and it will function for you. Now, I know you can't answer or ask any questions in this video, but if you do have any questions, please reach out to me. Something I do want to point out just as a key takeaway, besides adding the device into your C-section documentation, you also want to be mindful that our C-section packs currently come with a standard cautery pencil with a bovie tip. So if we're adding this onto our device and the scrub tech has not had time to remove that standard cautery pencil, you now have an additional cautery pencil once you add this onto your field. So you have two bovie tips in that case. So just be mindful when you're doing your count, making sure you have one or two bovie tips accounted for and that you still have them accounted for at the end of your case. Other things to take home, you do want to keep the packaging for your striker pencil. And that's just because we can add it to the supply list that way. We can also keep track of our par that way a little bit better, and we'll increase the par as we see the demand need. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. If anesthesia needs any help or any refreshers, tell them to reach out to me or they can share this video. I'm happy to show them where to plug things in, but that's something that we can do for sure. If you have any other feedback, please let me know, and happy smoke evacuating. Thank you.